Most of us know the things that we battle with. So you make that your kryptonite. Your narrative, you write the ways that you conquer it. So this is another way that you can further, it's kind of almost like shadow work. Hello beautiful creatures, welcome to my channel. I am Irradia the Witch of Dark Light and I hope you all are doing well. This video is going to be about hypersigils and maybe a few other things, but mainly hypersigils. So welcome here if this is your first time coming across my videos. And if you find that this is something you like, please do consider subscribing. First, before I begin, I would like to give a special shout out to a magical, beautiful being, Liliana. I just want to give you that shout out and say that I wish all of the magical things for you in your life. Let's jump into hypersigils. I am excited because I love to create. So I take things and I make it my own. I willed it to work the way that I needed to manifest for me. So first, what is a hypersigil? A hypersigil was created by Grant Morrison. He was a Scottish comic book writer who wrote a lot of things for DC Comics. But the thing that he was known for when it comes to the hypersigil was based on his comic book trilogy, The Invisibles. And long story short, what he found out, what he began to realize was every time he created this story or this character, some of those things would begin to eventually show up in different ways in his life. So he began to examine this and realized that this was a form of a super sigil, a hyper sigil, manifesting things to come to life. So I'm going to read to you in his words what he feels a hyper sigil is. The hyper sigil or super sigil develops the sigil concept beyond the static image. The static image meaning our typical art, the things that we draw. These are things that are pictures and they ultimately don't move. They're just pictures that we draw on different forms of media. Incorporates elements such as characterization, drama, and the plot. The hypersigil is a sigil extended through the fourth dimension, and what that means is it implies something that has a greater effect on our lives, something that has manifested beyond the 3D into 4D. So my own comic book series, The Invisibles, was a 6-year-long sigil in the form of an occult adventure story which consumed and recreated my life during the period of its composition and execution. The hypersigil is an immensely powerful and sometimes dangerous method for actually altering reality in accordance with intent. Results can be remarkable and shocking. Those are his words and what he defined the hypersigil to be. So the reason why I think this is a great idea is because many of us have a hard time understanding how to manifest, or even understanding that we can, or even understanding the power we have within us, the ability to do things. It's the super sigil, so it goes further into manifesting in a story, in a narrative, something that you are creating which is why it was so powerful when he did it within his comics, because this was something that it was almost like a thought form, right? He visualized these characters. He visualized their story. He visualized the superpower they would have, and he brought it to life because he believed in his character. So the idea behind what it is that I'm going to do is I'm not a comic book writer. I'm not even a author. So I'm going to create a journal and create a character that is based on more or less my higher self and how I see my higher self, how I see I am acting in my highest form, in my highest frequency, kind of the superpower self. So I'm going to create that character. And this is much like what I was talking about in my other video when I was talking about identity. So I want to create a narrative that tells the story of where I would like to see myself, the goals that I would like to see manifested. This is not going to be a 6-year long journal, but I'm going to test it out and maybe do it for like 30 days, maybe a month. And I'm going to write a story where the narrative is saying, this is what's going to happen, this is what's going to manifest by this time. I know the type of story, but I haven't thought about what exactly it is I'm going to write. But another thing that I'm going to do, because I have to add extra to it, I created, well, I didn't create it yet, but I created this for you so that you can have an idea of what it is that I'm talking about. So this is the journal that I'm going to use. I had this for a while. I haven't used it. It was waiting for this purpose. And I love the fact that it's red. Red is action, that manifesting, igniting power. So I'm going to write the story. I'm going to begin it in this journal here and give myself a character name and highlight the powers, the superpowers that this character has, and begin telling the story. And the story is going to be just something more magnified, that is outside the realms of our reality. However, it will show up. The idea is that it will show up in a way that manifests into this reality, if that makes sense. But I also wanted to share with you this pen. This is a pen that I used, calamus root. Calamus root is used for domination, and if you watch my video on powerful roots, this was in that video. So I have here, the idea is I took copper wire to attach the calamus root to this pen. Now, stay with me. The idea behind this is I am going to use the pen that I create with the calamus root. I'm going to use that pen to dominate, to manifest this story even further as I write in the journal. So it's kind of like a magic pen that I'm going to create. And when I create this is just a mock-up, right? When I create the pen that I'm going to use, I will absolutely maybe post a short or something like that, or maybe a picture on my community post. But I wanted to share with you this idea in case you wanted to do it. All you do is just take a calamus root, take some copper wire or anything that you can use to adhere it. I use copper wiring because that's another element of magic for me that helps amplify the intent and power of whatever it is that I'm using. So you find the pen, pencil, marker, whatever it is that you're going to use to write with, and attach it to here and this. Then maybe you can even, which is what I'm going to do, is activate this pen with my intent, and it direct the purpose to manifest, master the manifesting power of the words that I write with this pen. Ooh, that's another thought too. Crystals. If you don't have calamus root, get some kind of crystal shard. Use wiring to wrap that around your pen. That can help have a magical pen, right? That's another way, because not everybody has calamus root in their home. You may not believe in this reality that you have superpowers or have this power within you, but the more you write this down, the more you tell yourself this story, the more you begin to associate with this character, the more it begins to show up in your life. So don't feel like you have to believe this yet. You can take that journal, create a character that is someone that you would like to be, someone that you want to see yourself be, and it has to be magnified, right? Give yourself a cape. Give yourself this superpower that you can see through walls, or you have this super strength. Because what's going to happen is these things will begin to show up. You will begin to believe these things, and they will show up in this reality in the way that it can manifest in this reality. It's not going to show up. You're not going to show up and one day wake up with a cape on, or wake up one day and be able to see through walls. The idea of this is just to tap into the power that you have within inside of you that you may not feel exists. So this hypersigil is something to help you manifest your greatest power. So I will absolutely share with you the results of this. And again, this is going to be a 30-day process, so I will have to wait to see even maybe a month after that to see how it plays out, or how it shows up, because it's going to show up and see how it shows up in my life, and I will share that with you. But other than using the pen for the hypersigil, I will absolutely be using this dominating manifesting magical pen to write spell incantations and create sigils. I had this idea for a while. I didn't bring it to life yet, and I'm doing that now because this is all about manifesting things into this reality. So this is what I am doing now, and I wanted to share that with you because maybe you can find yourself a book. Doesn't have to be this fancy book, or either just on a piece of paper you begin to write out your story. And if you don't know what to write, just start out by writing, creating a character, giving that character a name, then give that character the superpowers, and even give that power the power even give that character like every superhero has their kryptonite. So you don't want to develop this false thinking that nothing can affect you, right? So the idea is how you overcome the things that do affect you, the things that are your Achilles heel, because most of us know the things that we battle with. So you make that your kryptonite, and in your narrative, you write the ways that you conquer it. So this is another way that you can further, it's kind of almost like shadow work, because you're writing out maybe what you feel your fault is, and you write the superpower that can conquer these things, or write how this narrative goes about conquering these things. So I think this is an all-around great thing to do, because it touches on you journaling, because you always hear people say journal, journal, journal. And that's not something that I'm good at. I will have to be honest, I'm not good at journaling. I am, however, good at I love creating. So the idea of maybe even drawing this character, that would be the first thing that I do. Kind of sketch out the way that I want this character to look, and then after I sketch it out, the name then follows. This is usually how I create. I see the picture, just like when I create some videos with music, I first find the music, because this is what speaks to me. But I'm not going to go on to that. I just want to share with you the Hypersigil in the process in which that I'm going to use it. And yeah, I wanted to share my Magick Pen with you, and I'm so excited to I'm going to do that today. I'm going to create the actual pen. I'm going to make it all pretty, but just holding this pen right here, just holding the example of what I'm going to do just makes me want to write. And I feel, it makes me feel like a wand, like you have your magical wand or your affirmate. So I think this is a great idea. I'm absolutely going to do it. I'm going to draw the character sometime today or tomorrow. Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know. Let me know if you are going to do this Hypersigil. I would love to hear about it, and maybe we can document these things together, like if something that you have written manifest, different things like that. We can share our journey together, and maybe that's something I'll do with my over on Patreon. Kind of put a project together where we create our Hypersigil journals and just share the stories with one another. I think that is a great, that's inspirational, I feel. So that is it for this video. Until the next video, don't forget to subscribe and like and subscribe. I appreciate it very much, as it helps me get out into the land of YouTube, because like I said before, I am punished severely by the algorithm when I don't post as much, so your help is much appreciated. So until the next video, I love you all, and into the shadows.